It is no secret, if you are subscribed to this channel, how I feel about my governor. And he went on Tucker Carlson recently. I'm talking about less than a half an hour ago. And honestly, I think he really got exposed for just his complete lack of giving two damns about the people of New Jersey. He's a carpetbagger. He was inserted into this state. He was an ambassador for President Obama. And now he, runs the state. He's from Massachusetts. He's not even from here. And I am just so glad that Tucker Carlson put him on the carpet. So without further ado, Miss TC, take it away.
State of New York, no state in the country has been hit harder by this virus than the state of New Jersey. As of today, New Jersey has more than 71,000 cases of it. More than 3,100 people have died so far. Since the 21st of March, all residents in the state have been under a stay-at-home order, and that's had a big, predictable economic effect. In the past month, 577,000 New Jerseyans have filed for unemployment. Phil Murphy is the
present company included. And honestly, we don't know how those numbers are being tallied. I know how the numbers are being tallied, and they are mixing the with COVIDs with the by COVIDs, and it's really boosted those numbers up. So, but whatever. Let's keep going.
Governor of New Jersey says that for now the shutdown will continue. He joins us tonight. Governor, we really appreciate your coming on tonight. Thank you very much. I know you've got a lot to deal with. And I want to say at the outset that I mean this sincerely, I always presume good faith in the decisions that our leaders are making right now, because I know it's complex, especially for you, the most dense state in the country, second highest death toll. But there's a couple things that I find confusing, and I'd love to hear them explained. The first is the rationale for the lockdown. Now, you said early on the point was, and most governors said this, was to flatten the curve, to spread out the infection so our healthcare system didn't collapse. It didn't collapse. It came close, but it didn't. Now, today in your press conference, you gave a different rationale for the lockdown, and you said that you can't foresee normal gatherings continuing, I think it's a quote, until essentially there are no more cases. Why the change?
Again, it's good to be on with you. We believe completely that we don't get an economic recovery unless we've got a complete or near complete healthcare recovery. So flattening that curve reduces the amount of hospitalizations, reduces the amount of intensive care beds, ventilators, healthcare workers needed, et cetera. And so you want to get the line to cross between that and your capacity. If we had let this go, we think 3+ million New Jerseyans would have been infected. The number, thank God, is going to be a lot less than that, Tucker, but we're still not.
Okay, it's going to be a whole hell of a lot less than that, and I want you guys to really pay attention to the jargon that he's using, because, we have to flatten the curve, and we have to get these numbers between these other numbers, when in reality, all of the numbers are bunk because of how you've been counting these bodies. Straight up and down. That is why the numbers seem like, and guess what? Even those numbers, as he said, they're coming in a whole heck of a lot lower than the 3 million that was predicted. And this is ridiculous. This has been you've completely taken away all of our constitutional rights for what?
Out of the woods yet. My comments today were directed at things like high school graduations, religious gatherings that folks had asked me about for June. And I can't say with confidence. I think April, the next couple of weeks, is going to be our toughest period. May, I hope, please God, assuming folks stay home, will be a little bit better. I can't predict with certainty into the summer. So my rationale's the same. I just got to make sure that I'm being straight with people about the timing and, frankly, what we don't know yet.
Well, here's the thing, though. Okay, something that no one else seems to be bringing up is that the hospitals are making $19,000 per patient and $39,000 per person on ventilator. You don't believe that adds a financial incentive on what's the term on having positive tests? Come on, guys. Like, for real, this is ridiculous. Like this guy, he's so disingenuous. And you heard him, he basically completely dance around Tucker's question there.
But the standard that we're not going to have these large gatherings, including, as you said, religious services or NFL games, which you have in your state, until we're basically at zero new infections, that's not a standard that we apply to any other infectious diseases, including diseases that kill as many people as this is projected to kill. So why the different standard in this case?
Because I have to maintain my power, Carson. I mean, that's just the way it goes down. Like, if we don't have, if we don't sit here and try to aim for an impossible goal, if we don't move the goal line the same way that you just brought up, if we don't move that goal line, I can't maintain this level of power and authority over regular citizens' lives, because they're nothing but ants to me.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a different standard, and maybe it's the way I said it today, but here is the reality. You get that economic recovery, that responsible reopening after you've cracked the back of this. I don't think any of us can expect that we can get this to zero, particularly in the absence of a vaccine, and it sounds like that's a year and a half away. But I do think, and I did say this today, and we believe this strongly, that we need a much broader testing regime. And that will give us confidence if we can quickly test folks. Rutgers University, our state.
Here's the deal, though: when people are dying at less than a percentage, point, right? Then really, is it really worth shutting down the entire economy? Like at this, like you're quickly getting to this point, Massachusetts, Murphy, where it's not gonna, the ends don't justify the means. For me, you've been past this point since March, but for regular folks, they're slowly catching on, and it's a bit more on the ridiculous side.
Right. University, by the way, started this week with this saliva test, which they think could be scaled up dramatically. That would give us an enormous amount of confidence to be able to say, you know what, we could get back on our feet again, and we can highlight where there might be a burgeoning hotspot, have contact tracing in place, and keep a lid on this, right. And at the same time, let us get back on our feet.
But weren't parts of Newark completely, Newark is having Be Still Mondays where nobody does anything, and it's really ridiculous how far you guys have gone with this. If people come in, they're not feeling well, they test for it, what have you, that's one thing. But for you guys to have gone as far as you have, it's in a completely different ball game. And the constitutional lawsuits that like all these questions that are going to go before the Supreme Court will have to be answered.
That'll be hugely important, I think, for every state. Once you get large randomized tests in the state of New Jersey, what do you expect the death rate will turn out to be from this disease?
Boy, I don't know, Tucker. Based on everything we've seen, it is meaningfully higher than the year in and year out influenza. Of course, influenza, there are vaccines for that. I get a flu shot every year, and please God, we have a shot soon for this as well. I don't have a specific answer other than it appears to be higher, and part of the reason is we know the folks who have passed, and there have been far.
You heard that, right? It appears to be higher. Guys, come on, like this guy is just like, he's holding on to, like he's drunk with power, man. Go home, Murphy. You're drunk.
Too many in our state, over 3,000 blessed souls, as you said.
Right.
The denominator is the tough thing to get our arms around right now, and that's in the absence of the universal.
Okay, but that's the thing. 3,000 out of 9.5 million people. That's less than a percentage point.
Testing that we desperately need.
And we don't know if how these numbers are being added up. So maybe like 1,500. If we just say half of that is people who died with it as opposed to people who died by it.
That's right. So you just compared it to the annual influenza. So there is a vaccine typically for that. The new IHME numbers, University of Washington model that I think most of our leaders have been referring to, suggests about 60,000 deaths nationwide by August 4th. That would be fewer than what the annual influenza caused a couple of years ago with the vaccine. So does that shake your faith at all in the utility of a vaccine for this disease? Maybe it's not the final answer.
Get him,
it
Tucker.
Doesn't shake my faith in either the vaccine, which all experts think is at least a year and a half away. It does tell me that if the death tolls are around the numbers that you've just referred to, Tucker, that all of the actions we're taking are making a difference. I really believe that will.
Yeah, he going to sit there. Oh my goodness, yes, everything that I'm doing right now is why the numbers aren't as large as they usually are. Like, oh my goodness. Oh wow, it's like lighting a house on fire, and then because you came through with a hose talking about how you're the hero. Like, bro, come on, man.
All my heart. The fact that we're staying at home, staying away from each other, is flattening the curve, is leading eventually. We've got too many lost souls. Believe me, every one of them is a precious life. But the fact that it may be lower than we had expected means that it's working.
But that's the thing. Comparably speaking, right? When you're talking about 3,000 lives in the course of, what's it been, like a month and a half and some change, along with, 9 against 9.5 million people, bro, like to sit here and take the other over 9.5 million people who are, saying, like, going to get past this and just wreck their lives, over 500,000 people signing up for unemployment due to your reaction to this, bruh, nah, man, like, this is off the walls.
Let me ask you about the specific measures you just referred to. Now, large gatherings are banned, but liquor stores are deemed an essential service. Why? On the basis of what scientific evidence did you decide that?
Couple of things. One is there are liquor stores in our state that actually have a little bit too many backroom gatherings. So we had a little bit of a challenge. We had to remind folks that liquor stores may be open, but to your point, gatherings are not allowed. We relied on a whole lot of input, reasonable input from recovery coaches, addiction coaches, and they cautioned us if we were to shutter those stores down, we'd have unintended mental health and addiction prices to pay, unintended consequences. And so far, that's the route we've taken, and my guess is we'll continue to take that route.
So, but you have closed church services and synagogue services and arrested people for attempting to attend them. Did anyone say that maybe practicing your faith might be important to someone's mental health?
Listen, I think we've had a very good common ground with faith leaders of literally every faith who understand.
Okay, see, so he's like, yeah, well, to help people's mental health, like that's the thing about this nonsense that he's instituted in the first place, is that, like, it doesn't make sense to sit there and have the LQ open and shut down church. Like, honestly, none of this stuff, nothing should be shut down. I'm sorry. If you want people to wear a mask, say, hey, wear a mask. Leave it up to them. If the Walking Dead breaks out, then oh my goodness. But when it comes to our rights should never be forfeit. Because once you start breaking one, then you got to break them all. And Tucker, what you're not realizing is that Murphy is godless. This man, I genuinely don't believe this man has any true faith. Or if it does, it's definitely not of the God in order type. Like, this man is a master of chaos. Like, he's an agent of chaos in many angles and many respects, because of this the policies that he pushed through and how quickly he's been at work trying to get things that honestly have nothing to do with helping the state, helping New Jersey. Everything to do with pushing agenda, i.e. the alphabetical curriculum stuff, i.e. the sanctuary city policies. Oh yeah, ask him about that, Tucker. Ask him about how the sanctuary city policies may have had a role in all of this fun that he's now propagating, by all means.
And by the way, whether it's a liquor store, a pharmacy, a supermarket, we expect folks to distance themselves from each other, to wear face coverings, etc. There's an enormous amount of faith going on virtually right now, a lot of practicing going on, and we care deeply about both physical health and mental health.
And we will get 100% compliance. Yeah, he said that, along with calling people knuckleheads and the like, and telling us to cut the shit. And it's just like, bro, like, you're not our dad. The Constitution's a thing, and people are really starting to get pissed. And I can't help but feel like they're going to feel some kind of way as this gets out, as this footage goes abound.
Of course, but I just, and I don't want to be too persistent on this, but I think it's important. On what scientific basis did you decide that sitting in a church was much more dangerous than buying liquor in a liquor store? And why is buying liquor more important for the social fabric? I'm just trying to think. You're not the only governor who's done this, and I don't mean to pick on you, but I don't understand the reasoning. I don't want to think it had anything to do with tax revenues.
Tucker taking that religious angle.
Our revenues are so blown up, that would be a rounding error, trust me. Either or. It can be and both. I've spoken to Cardinal Tobin, to the leaders of the Jewish community, of the Muslim community. People are at peace where we have come out there. No one's happy. Everyone wants to get back to what they think of as the norm.
But see, here's the thing, Tucker, that he's not going to tell you is that New Jersey is a whip dog when it comes to the establishment and what the establishment wants. Murphy runs the establishment right now, so thusly all those faith leaders that he talks to, they're all in line. They all fell in line when he went and purchased all the favor of all the counties before running for governor, for coming out of Massachusetts. But they had the bread, he greased the right wheels, and now he's running a state that he has no true connection to, no real affinity for, and he's running it into the ground. And he seized upon this opportunity to, at the behest of the establishment, try to make Trump look bad, because a lot of people in Jersey have already begun attributing like all this lockdown stuff to Trump, when in reality, because public schools suck, they don't realize that no, this is a state level. They don't know the difference between the federal government and the state government, because government just government. And so Jersey's a whip dog politically. Make absolutely no mistake. And it don't matter if they're red, it don't matter if they're blue. Whatever masses say, is what they gonna do. There we go. I ended up making it rhyme. Nice.
Blame them. I want to do that as well. But I don't think these are one versus the other. I think you could have both of these realities at the same time, and that's what we have in New Jersey right now.
So why, back a couple of weeks ago, you closed state parks and people had been arrested for using them. A man was arrested for sitting alone on the beach. Tell me why that poses a danger. And again, on what scientific basis did you make that decision?
Yeah, so Tucker, we were coming into both warm weather and big religious seasons. It was Passover first, then Easter. We've got Ramadan coming up shortly. And certain of the counties were beginning to close their parks. And the concern was that the folks who couldn't go to their normal park would go to another park, another county or a state park. And it wasn't just a gut feel. We then surveilled the state, up and down the state, on that first weekend of April when we had some good weather in New Jersey. And in fact, that was just what we saw. Lots of people congregating, lots of out-of-state license plates. So it was a step, trust me, I took no joy in taking that step.
Bullshit, because first and foremost, those are the taxpayers' parks and roads and the like. So as you decide, I'm going to shut these down, you're basically telling the taxpayers that they can't be on what amounts to their property. Okay, like that's the thing. You're not, like, it's so weird that our public servants don't see themselves as such. It's weird and it's sad. But the deal is that that's their parks. And even if the people are coming from out of state, it is what it is. Sure, that's why we're the United States. Our fellow Americans want to come through and chill on our stuff by all means. But to sit here and do what's been done, I mean, man, tyranny, guys.
But it's one that we felt we had to take. I mentioned to a bunch of legislators today, it's not a life sentence.
Okay, but on what basis? What scientific? Because I'm just trying to get to the science here, because I assume all of us are following the lead of epidemiologists. Arresting someone for sitting alone on the beach, tell me how that arrests the spread of the coronavirus from an epidemiological point of view.
And you can also ask, how does releasing prisoners, when you can easily quarantine them, like stop the spread? I mean, and once again, you can also tell us how we're counting these deaths. No, like I've asked all over the place. Nobody is willing to sit there and say, yeah, this is how we count the deaths. Nobody.
Yeah, I wasn't referring to that. I actually don't have the specifics as to why that happened. I meant congregation at state and county parks, of which there was an enormous amount when the weather got warm. And the fact that folks weren't, it's not that they couldn't be in the park and jogging by themselves or walking on their own and keeping distance. They weren't. And there were a lot of out-of-state license plates in the parking lots, and we've got some of the nicest.
But that's why, well, what's that? But that's the thing. That's why we're the United States, though. You know, I mean, like, yo, my countrymen. Come on, bruh.
Parks in the Northeast, if not the country. Again, it brings me no joy, but we felt that was the right decision to make.
Huh. So you made that decision, and as I noted before, 15 congregants at a synagogue in New Jersey were arrested and charged for being in a synagogue together. Now, the Bill of Rights, as you well know, protects Americans' right, enshrines their right to practice their religion as they see fit and to congregate together, to assemble peacefully.
Yeah.
By what authority did you nullify the Bill of Rights in issuing this order? How do you have the power to do that?
That's above my pay grade, Tucker. So I was.
Bruh! That's above your pay grade. You're the governor of a state, and that's above your pay grade.
I wasn't thinking of the Bill of Rights when we did this. We went to.
You're damn right you wasn't. You damn right you weren't. You were thinking about just amassing power and flexing with it. And honestly, you've worked yourself into a position where you're like, oh my goodness, we need to keep stoking this fear. It really is. This is disgusting. I'm actually missing Chris Christie at this point. Oh my God. Yeah. Chris Christie? What? What? I'm actually missing Chris Christie at this point? Because Chris Christie wouldn't pull no shit like this. Like, what the hell? Like, yo, how do we progressively get worse? Oh my goodness. Well, I already explained to you guys, like, how, but, like, oh, wow. Just wow.
First of all, we looked at the data and the science, and it says people have to stay away from each other. Golly.
I can't say anything that's coursing through my brain right now because it could all be used against me in a court of law. But Jesus, come on, guy.
That's the best thing we could do to break the back of the curve of this virus that leads to lower hospitalizations and ultimately fatalities.
And I'm not contesting that, though. I think I do think there's a debate. This is a rolling conversation because we're learning new things every day, and nothing is settled at this point.
Understood.
But I do want, since you are an elected official, a leader in the government,
Thank you.
How do you have the authority to order something that so clearly contravenes the Bill of Rights of the United States, the U.S. Constitution?
Amen.
Where do you get the authority to do that?
Please.
Well, here's the thing. We know we need to stay away from each other, number one. Number two, we do have broad authority within the state. And number three, we would never do.
But that's the thing. You just said, like he said, it's above his pay grade. Thusly, he don't even consider that. He just said he does not consider the Constitution. He does not consider the Bill of Rights. Tucker Carlson just exposed this man as basically as an NPC, as a bot, as a puppet. I mean, trust me, like he said, it's above his pay. Well, whose pay grade is it? Phil? Seriously, you dick.
That without coordinating, discussing, and hashing it out with the leaders, the variety of the leaders of the faith in New Jersey. We are among, if not the most diverse state in America,
I'm sure that you talk to every rabbi and priest, but there's a deeper question here, and I'm just going to ask you one last time because I think it's important. I'm sure you've thought about this. You can't just, as the governor of a state, tell people who they can talk to, when, and where. Because
Thank you.
The Constitution of the United States, upon which all of this is based, prohibits you from doing that. So you clearly
decided
that you could do it. Did you consult an attorney about this? Did you? I mean, because this is a legal question.
Yeah, because you set us up. You set the state up.
The men's room without consulting an attorney. So I guarantee.
Don't try to be cute, my guy.
We did that, but I'll give you an example that was not related to the synagogue. I called up Cardinal Tobin, Cardinal Joe Tobin in Newark. There are 5 or 6 archdioceses in New Jersey. It was coming up.
Who gives an absolute shit? There's more than just these whatever faith leaders that they got here. This is a state of 9.5 million people. Each and every one of them are equal, my guy, as far as the Constitution's concerned. So thusly, you can't just consider some faith leader that most people, that I can guarantee you 97% of that 9 million don't know, to sit here and say, yeah, I'm going to take away everyone's rights, you dick.
To Easter and Holy Week in particular. And I said, listen, I'm really concerned about drive-through Holy Communion, because we had heard some stories about priests who unwittingly had the virus and unwittingly passed it on to parishioners. And he said, we're not doing that, I promise you, and I'll confirm that with my fellow bishops. That's not denying someone.
But that's the thing, it's their choices to make. If a priest decides that they want to shut down their services, that's cool, that's on them. The state can't mandate it. If you guys go back to the videos that I did at the church, you'll see that there was the mandates were on the were on the doors, like as per the command of Governor Murphy. All of the like, yeah, church is shut down, there's no church. And it's like, bro, like, I mean, that's completely antithetical to what this country is, my guy. And the fact that like you're supposed to be the leader of a state, yet there is something above your pay grade, that is amazing, man.
Their right to worship in any way, that we have to find a different way to worship. I think that's the point.
I think the point is that you're godless. I really don't think Murphy is like, like, I don't think he has like any faith in any kind of God. I really don't. There's plenty of people out there like that. There's plenty of soulless people that's running around here. So like, it really wouldn't surprise me if he was amongst them. Allegedly, supposedly, like, you can't hit me with no legal shit.
God bless America.
Yeah, we're not. Government's not allowed to tell people how to worship.
Thank you.
Just as a sort of factual matter.
Thank you.
Question, sincere question. So these orders, which again I'm presuming and I believe were taken in good faith under trying circumstances, have nevertheless, and you just said it, have resulted in an awful lot of suffering. 577,000 New Jerseyans on unemployment. Doubtless the suicide rate will increase. The addiction rate will increase. Liquor stores are open, as we noted. How much does that weigh on you? That the suffering that this lockdown has caused might equal or perhaps outweigh what the virus does. Do you think
nothing?
It weighs heavily, and you ask yourself every day, are you making the right decision? And the answer is this, twofold, Tucker. One is we continue to make every call based on the facts, the data, the science, as best we can. And secondly, I look at what we're doing versus the alternative. And I know that the alternative, had we stepped back and let this virus run amok, 3+ million people in our state would have been infected, and the healthcare system would have had no chance to have kept up with that, and the fatalities would have been multiple. So each life lost is a precious.
Once again, though, how are these deaths being counted? Like, I keep going back to it because, okay, we had 3,000 some change deaths, right? But how are you counting those deaths? Because if you're counting the widths as counting the buys, which I know they are because it's a part of the federal guidelines. So I know, like, the federal guidelines are super loose. And so, like, yeah, that's how you're going to count them up. So thusly, you're like, oh my, like it really feels as if just 3,000 in and of itself against 9.5 million is but then, but you're like, oh my goodness, we saved all these lives. But the question becomes, how many lives, like how many what's the names? Like how many of those are widths or buys? So thusly, with those numbers being muddy from just from their accounting, it all is like, wait, what? What? We like half a million people, half a million people plus out of work. Applying, like the servers being backed up, everybody sitting in like screaming and scratching, thanking Trump for the Trump checks and the like. Oh my goodness. Yeah, guys, Jersey's screwed. It really is. See, this is why I want to get out of here. It really is. Like November, just get this done, and I'm out. Even if it's not done, I'm out. Like I've served my purpose here. Either ways, guys, all the internet stuff. If you like to toss it a like, dislike, go ahead and do that too. Nobody's scared of you. Sub. If you enjoy my fantastic voice and you want to get videos like this every single day, share because sharing is caring. And YouTube and BitChute and like are the biggest fans of your boy over here for very obvious reasons. Bang the bell for notifications and speak. Let me know. What do you guys think in the comments? What do you think of the new mic? I'm not sure that I'm gonna be keeping this. I'm gonna play this one back, or hopefully it's not too bad. But yeah, Governor Murphy is a tyrant. He's from Massachusetts. He's not Jersey. He never was. He brought his seat, and now he found himself with the opportunity to, like, do some work for the establishment and trying to take down Trump and like really make a name for himself, really show himself as a leader. He's on TV every day, just like Trump, and yeah, man. Like, it's just, that's just attention whoring. But I mean, you may feel differently. You may be like, Jay, people are dying. Like, how many? Let me know, really. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. All right, and until the next one.